Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Imaginary Boys podcast. We are your hosts. I am Mr. Habanero, and I have my wonderful friend right over here, Mr. Sexy Lingerie Man Lettuce Boy over here.
You know what it is.
How are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, I am full of vim and vigor.
I'm sure. Oh, man, so
Those are words.
Yes, they are indeed. So yeah, we've got some interesting things on our plate to talk about today. I was definitely surprised because you were the one who actually was like, dude, I have all the topics today that I want to talk about, and I'm like, all right, hit me, slap me in the face with them, big boy. And it sounds like you have one that sounds really interesting about how you were basically telling me right before we started that you have some predictions going on with Nintendo and the new, like a new Switch system or something. Why don't you go ahead and give me the hibbity haps about that? Because I actually don't know very much. I'm not really keeping track of it. So,
Right. Well, in case your listeners also live underneath a rock, Nintendo, after saying, hey, we don't have a new hardware model, kind of like what they did for the Switch Lite a couple of years ago, they were like, here's a new model.
Yeah. Right.
And everybody's like, oh, is this the Switch Pro? Is this the Switch Pro? And they're like, nah, bro.
Nope.
This is the same old Switch. Hardware-wise, except for it's got an OLED screen. The OLED screen is slightly bigger because it has smaller bezels, which is something that OLED allows you to have. You don't need so much business in the borders to make OLED work.
Right.
And they're like, we have OLED. It has a bit more storage, but it has a lot of these other things that were rumored to come with the Switch Pro, like the improved kickstand, where I don't know if you saw like the current Switch has like a flimsy kickstand that kind of breaks.
Okay, wait, so are you saying that there were predictions being made about accessories to a Switch Pro, and then it ended up being part of something else?
No, there were more than just rumors. There were reports from industry insiders that were pointing to Nintendo working on building a Switch Pro.
Okay.
Potentially to be ready for this holiday season, because I don't know if you noticed, but the well is a little bit dry for Nintendo right now, and it has been for the past couple of years.
You've told me that a few different times. I just wasn't sure. Like I said, I really enjoy Nintendo, and I, generally like what I do, but despite the fact that I say that kind of stuff, I don't really buy from Nintendo, so I kind of in all honesty, I don't have a right to really speak about that kind of stuff. But
you can as an American, you have every right to speak on something.
Like if you have an opinion, I have no authority over.
Well, if you're wrong, I'm just going to tell you you're wrong.
I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that.
I will educate you. So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
When was the last time you bought a device from Nintendo?
The last time I bought I actually have it sitting in front of me. The last device I had that I bought from Nintendo was a Nintendo 3DS Generation 1.
Okay, so you have an original 3DS.
Yes.
Are you aware that at some point they've upgraded, like over the lifespan of the 3DS, they upgraded it?
Yes.
They made it bigger.
I wanted a last generation 2DS, but I should have bought one when it was still in production, and now they're like going for $400, and it's like, I ain't got money for that shit. Like, I can't buy a $400 out of production Nintendo 2DS last generation. Like, that's insane. Nobody's got money for that shit. I mean, some people do, but I don't.
So the 3DS and 2DS, which is just the 3DS without the 3D slider.
Right.
They went in through a couple iterations. They went through the XL phase, which gave you a bigger device with bigger screens. And then the final iteration was the new 3DS XL.
Right.
the new 3DS XL was supposed to have better performance, and some games were supposed to leverage it, although very few did. What people were thinking was Nintendo was giving you the new Nintendo Switch. What we got was the Nintendo Switch XL.
Oh, I get it. I get you. So in other words, they thought they were going to be upgrading like the hardware from for example, like with the last 3DS and 2DS, they were like, okay, it's got better RAM, it's got better memory, it's got like all this like capacity and all this awesome stuff. But versus like, oh, it's an XL, which is it's just got a bigger screen and like it looks nicer and it's larger and more convenient, right? So they thought they were getting the more hardcore hardware, when instead they just got a couple of like small parts that don't matter super much, but those were upgraded, and that's not what people were hoping for.
So sorta.
Okay.
The OLED screen was part of the Pro rumors.
Okay.
There was the other part of the Pro rumors was they updated the dock to have an Ethernet port.
Okay. So like so you could plug in an Ethernet cable? Do people even do that anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my Switch would be on Ethernet if I bothered keeping it in a dock.
I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, I hook up my computer to an Ethernet cable because it's just like a more direct connection, which means faster speeds, whereas versus doing it wireless. But at the same time, like, I just, like, I think I would rather just go ahead and I think I would just rather have it be wireless. I mean, I don't need a super hardcore connection.
You do if the online for Switch was any better.
Oh,
and
I see.
And you were playing on the TV. Because I mean, you're in dock. We're talking about you being in dock mode at this point.
Got it.
The dock had a Ethernet, which was part of the Pro rumors. The kickstand, the flimsy kickstand in the back of the Switch, which is just like a 3/4 of an inch panel that kicks out, and if you put if the table is like even the least bit wobbly, the Switch falls over anyway.
That's pretty funny.
That is if the thing does. I mean, mine has fallen off several times. I actually have a third party. I've had to replace my kickstand on my Switch because it snapped off.
You got yourself a Wildcat?
Yeah, got myself a Wildcat.
Got one of those baby hand controllers?
No.
Good for you.
Those were god awful.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're awful. I used to believe that Wildcat controllers are secretly torture devices made for like gamers to like put their hands in constant pain on purpose. And they used to have sharp edges too. They were teeny tiny and they had sharp edges that you would cut your palms open on. It was ludicrous. What are you doing, Wildcat? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I have that. The update that we got, the only real update we got was the OLED screen.
Okay,
that is of any substance. If you are a person who plays your Switch primarily in handheld mode,
okay,
then it's actually a good upgrade for you, because I remember when the Vita went from the original Sony Vita,
right,
went from having an OLED screen, and this was back when OLED was kind of a new technology and really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, the Vita was like a $400 handheld.
Okay.
So when the Vita didn't sell, one of the things Sony did was downgrade it to an LCD screen.
Right. I mean, I don't know anything about this. I stopped keeping track of Sony handhelds after the original Generation 1 PSP. That was the last Sony, the first and last Sony handheld that I owned.
So I saw a OG Vita with the OLED screen and an OG and then the Vita Slim or Vita Lite or whatever they're calling it.
Okay.
With the LCD screen. And there is a marked difference between OLED and LCD.
Like just in quality?
Just in image quality.
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who primarily handholds your Switch, that's actually, $50 for an OLED screen is a pretty good deal, actually.
Okay.
All things considering. However, it doesn't help some of the bad problems with the Switch that people are now noticing.
With the one that was the what is it, the port, the most recent generation one, which was the lower quality one, I think, right?
Well, no, like all three Switches. Like,
oh, I see. Okay.
So there was the version 1 Switch is what I own.
Right.
The Switch Lite, which used an improved version of the Tegra X1.
Right. That's the one I was thinking of. Okay.
That silently went into the normal Switch model.
Interesting.
Because it actually does improve battery life a little bit.
Okay. All right.
But it does absolutely nothing for performance. And Nintendo and Switch developers are now releasing games that are causing games to kind of chug in docked mode.
Well,
because
maybe they wanted it to look prettier, so they sacrificed power for prettiness.
Well, possibly. So games like Mario Golf,
right? Okay.
I actually bought Mario Golf on a whim because I like golf video games every once in a while.
Wasn't that the one we saw at E3 that we were making commentary about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you like that game? That one worked out.
It was a whim purchase.
Okay.
It might have been fueled by. I was like, I occasionally do like a golf video game.
Okay.
And the concept of battle golf sounded kind of fun.
Right. That's right, because they... Oh, okay. Because they had like a whole section where you're like fighting each other when you're going from course to course, right? Like that's what that was? Yeah, I remember that.
No.
Oh.
That was just speed golf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, speed golf is also not very fun. Nintendo's online infrastructure is still hot flaming garbage.
Yeah, it'll probably always be that way. I don't think they get it. I don't think they'll ever get it for that particular situation.
Yeah, online play for golf hasn't been Smash levels of bad.
Right.
But I think that's because not a lot of people play golf. If people hammered the servers for golf like they hammer for Smash,
it would be a lag fest.
It would be absolutely unplayable.
Yeah. That makes sense. Maybe someday they'll figure it out.
Maybe someday Nintendo will catch up. Maybe someday. And that's what Nintendo fans have been saying for a decade. Maybe at some point Nintendo will catch up.
Maybe someday.
maybe someday Nintendo Switch Online won't be terrible. So they released this thing. Everybody's expecting the Switch Pro.
Okay. Because
just the reports, which are now relegated back down to rumors, from trusted like people who don't get shit wrong very often.
Okay.
And here's the thing is they were 75% right.
Oh, okay.
We got like all their predictions except for a new SoC, a new processor, came true. We got doubled storage. We went from 32 to 64 gigs internal storage, which if that's nothing. Like if you own a Switch, you still need like a 512 gig.
That's CPU, right?
Well, yeah, the SoC is the CPU GPU combined.
Got it.
Your iPad, there's not like a separate die for a GPU and a separate die for CPU. It's one chip that runs all the features, that runs the entire system and kind of ports out directly to IO. So like everything but the new NVIDIA Tegra update was basically confirmed today by Nintendo. OLED screen, the kickstand. Have you seen a Microsoft Surface?
What do you mean?
The tablet Microsoft makes?
No, I know
The
absolutely.
Windows.
Nope, I don't know anything.
Okay,
Sorry.
it has a wedge that kind of kicks out from the back of it.
Oh, you're back to
When
talking. You're back to talking about the stand again. Got it.
And
Got it.
back to talking
Okay.
about the stand. It's
Right.
it's basically the Microsoft Surface kickstand on the Surface.
Okay.
That was rumored. We got that. We got the added memory. We got the Ethernet port on the dock. We got white Joy-Cons.
Okay.
And they had mentioned a new color Joy-Cons. So they got everything but the SoC correctly. And I think I know why.
Do you think it was like a removed thing? Like in other words, they were technically correct, but then they were like, no, this will end up being too expensive or too hefty or something.
Nintendo, as I alluded to earlier, Nintendo has been going through kind of a dry spell. Early 2020 was good for them. Holiday 2020 was absolute crap. They had nothing for Hollywood for holiday 2020.
Well, I think was that about when Animal Crossing came out?
No, Animal Crossing was early 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, Animal Crossing was April of that year.
Got it.
July was Paper Mario.
Oh yeah, that was a thing, huh? I don't think anybody's
was
playing that game anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a single player, one-time use game. I played Paper Mario. It was all right. It was an okay game.
It didn't seem like it was a big hit for, influencers and YouTube creators and stuff, because I didn't see anybody play that game.
Okay, well, no one plays Nintendo games on YouTube because because Nintendo has proven that if you play Nintendo games on YouTube, they will boink you.
I thought they stopped doing that.
No, they didn't stop doing that.
Well, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Do they not understand the concept of free advertising?
Yeah, but Nintendo does Nintendo things.
Okay.
Remember?
You do you,
Remember?
Nintendo. It's all good, buddy.
Yeah, this is that Nintendo bullshit that gets hand waved.
But here's the thing. There are, I can think of tons and tons of channels that are doing Animal Crossing playthroughs. Animal Crossing playthroughs are everywhere. Even now. Even right now. People are still playing Animal Crossing on Twitch and YouTube. So, they aren't they intimidated by that as well? I've seen other stuff like that. I just feel like that it's just that one game is just not popular.
Possibly. Also, Animal Crossing there's no spoilers in Animal Crossing. And that's the kind of thing that Nintendo kind of doesn't like, is you playing a game and spoiling it for your audience who then doesn't have to go out and buy that game.
Yeah, they definitely don't understand how that whole dynamic works, do they?
Nintendo, that's the kind of thing that Nintendo said that they want to avoid is somebody playing Animal Crossing you play Animal Crossing to your face is blue. You're not spoiling anything. If anything, you're enticing people to play more Animal Crossing.
Yeah, but that's true for pretty much, it's been proven time and time again that,
Right.
that's just not true, because people will go out and buy the game. Go ahead, sorry.
Nintendo do Nintendo things.
Yeah.
All
right.
You and I both know that Nintendo is full of shit there, but they will go down on somebody playing Mario.
Okay.
They'll come down on somebody playing Mario. They'll come down sometimes on people playing Zelda.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm pretty sure when Metroid comes out, they'll go down on people playing Metroid. Granted, you're also probably right. It wasn't that popular of a game. It sold pretty much what you would expect it sold right there on the second tier Mario game level.
Right.
Not the
main franchise.
Is the Mario. Yeah, this is not the main franchise game. This isn't the new 2D game that we want everybody to play.
Right.
This is your Mario parties. This is your Mario golfs. This is your Mario tennises. Things subgenre Mario games typically run about 1.5 to 2 million sales. And that's about what Paper Mario sold. So where were we? So 2020.
The Switch.
After 2020. After Mario, nothing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest game to come on Switch over the holiday was Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But it wasn't a console exclusive.
Oh, that's
Granted,
right. Sony had their hands in that one as well, didn't they?
So did Xbox, and it's on PC now.
Yeah, that game is everywhere now, isn't it? That's crazy.
Yeah. So I honestly think that was the big holiday release for the Switch.
Yeah.
Was a throwaway rhythm game from SquareSoft.
Like
that can't sit well with investors.
Yeah.
So now we're going into the 2021 holiday season, and we know what's coming. Metroid Prime.
That the one that made me super butt mad.
Oh, not Metroid Prime. My bad. Metroid Dread.
Yeah, the butt mad game that made me butt mad. I'm still butt mad about it.
The butt mad game. Yes, that's Nintendo. That is Nintendo's holiday, like marquee holiday title.
They're not gonna sell
Metroid.
consoles with that game. You know they're not gonna sell consoles with that game.
They're hoping to sell that game with consoles.
No, they're no. Stop it! Shut up. You know they're not gonna be able to. Come on, man.
Do you remember what the release date for Metroid Dread was?
I was not paying attention because I was so angry about the game that I was
October 8th. Do you know when the
holiday season? Of course.
It comes out October 8th.
Yeah, holiday season.
So early holiday season. But do you know when the Switch OLED's coming out?
I assume either shortly after or
right.
right before. Oh, at the same time?
Day and date.
Nintendo.
They are. So here is my speculation. Here is my speculation number one.
Right.
They're giving Metroid this is Metroid's last chance.
That game is not going to be successful. It's
Metroid,
not.
Metroid Dread has to sell decently and has to move new OLED consoles. Otherwise, they're going to stealth cancel Prime 4.
Oh no. Oh no. They should know that game is not going to sell consoles. Dread is not going to sell consoles. It's not.
They're hoping. They actually gave Metroid a helping hand. They're hoping people will go out and buy their OLED Switches and play and buy Metroid. Because if you looked at the trailer for the OLED Switch,
I haven't seen it.
What game was playing on that trailer? Metroid Dread.
I haven't seen the trailer, so I'll have to go check it out later or something like that.
Yeah, Metroid Dread was the game that was on the Switch OLED being played. They're hoping new hardware sells Metroid Dread.
No, I think it's going to be the opposite. They're hoping Dread is going to sell the hardware.
No, they know if their holiday was just Metroid Dread would sink.
It will. Do you think they're going to release some other games alongside?
We know what's coming out.
They've got to have something better than Dread. There's no way.
No, they don't. That is the game.
People. So like there are going to be people who will buy the console because they want the console. It's the new console. It's got the new hardware. Like, yeah, obviously the console will sell itself, clearly. But the thing is that, as we all know, as gamers, as well as probably a good portion of the the game industry itself, you have to have your launch titles because people will see a great looking title and say, okay, that title looks absolutely amazing and spectacular. It looks like everything I've ever wanted from that specific kind of title. but I gotta go out and get the new console so that I can play that title in order for it to look as spectacular as it does. So they have to have some titles or a title that's going to sell the console. Dread is not going to sell that console. The game looks terrible. I don't care what anybody says. Dread looks terrible.
They're hoping the console sells Dread.
That's so stupid. I mean, like, obviously, okay, so obviously if people go out and they're going to go and buy that new Switch because they want the console, which is one particular percentage of the market that's going to, like, want to go out and be like, oh, it's just the next, Switch. But, and they're like, okay, well, let me go ahead and get Dread alongside of it, because I went ahead and bought the new Switch, and might as well go ahead and get Dread, because Dread is meant for this system, so that's fine. But you're going to have all those people who are like, Dread looks terrible, or it doesn't look that great, or I'm not that interested, and I already have a Switch. It's fine. I don't need to upgrade. It's fine.
Okay. So, I don't think a lot of people are going to upgrade on the Switch. A lot of people have kind of walked away from their Switch.
Yeah.
And the people who's still around, a lot of them are still primarily playing in dock mode, which the new Switch does nothing for them. So, the only other game that they have, the only other games that they have coming out, holiday 2021.
Yeah.
Shin Megami Tensei 5.
That's the one with the... Oh, isn't that the one with the futuristic robot chick in an alternate dimension? She's a waifu, and then she's, like, going around and hunting, like, fairies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And okay.
Weeb game is Weeb.
Yeah. I remember that. Okay. I mean, I didn't think that game looked all that great. I can understand the appeal, but I didn't think it was... It's not as cool...
Shin Megami isn't going to sell consoles.
Let me go ahead and tell you right here, right now, folks. Shin Megami ain't no Pal World.
Right. And mid-November, Pokemon BDSP.
What is that?
Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing! Oh, man. Weird. Okay.
Their holiday is literally hinging on Metroid Dread, some Pokemon remakes that people are kind of low on.
Well, hold on. I think that the Pokemon games would sell the new console. Even if they're not high quality and crazy amazing, those would, like, the Pokemon fan base, dude, like, they're extremely large and intimidating.
The Pokemon fan base is pretty large and intimidating, that's true. Sales for...
Are you looking up some stats?
Yeah, because... Okay, I mean... To date, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have sold 15 million copies.
Omega Ruby is what sold me that Generation 1 3DS. Like, I bought that Generation 1 3DS just so that I could go and buy a copy of Omega Ruby and play it, so...
So, 7 years after the fact, it sold 15 million copies.
Okay.
Because, let's face it, it's Ruby Sapphire, it's the best Pokemon generation.
Generation 3, baby. Always the best. In my eyes, man. Generation 3 will always be my favorite. I've played every single generation since the very beginning, and to this very day, Generation 3 is always my favorite.
Okay, so, the Switch has already had a remake on it.
Okay.
Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah.
Which was basically the remake of
Yellow.
Mm-hmm. And combined over 2 years, after about 2 years, they sold about 15 million copies. So yeah, over time, BDSP will sell, and BDSP will probably be what saves Nintendo's holiday.
Definitely, I would agree with that. Like, Dread is not the shining knight in white armor that they all think it's gonna be. I can't even begin to imagine what makes them think that Dread is going to be this great big success. Like, I I don't even like. Yes, the Pokemon games will probably save the day for sure, but come on, man, Dread.
They're hoping
it breaks my heart, man.
Dread. I think if Dread doesn't do well with being kind of the pack-in, like kind of a pseudo pack-in game with a hardware refresh.
Mm-hmm.
If Dread can't hack it and give them at least 3 million copies, I think they look at the development of Prime 4 and see a sunk cost fallacy in there, and I think they kill it.
I wait a minute. I thought the sunk cost fallacy is that you have to like finish it even though it is a failure. Like
right.
you've put too much money into it to give up on it, so we have to finish it.
But they step back. They see the upcoming sunk cost fallacy because
and they give up on it because they see it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they foresee the sunk cost fallacy there, and they're like, oh, yeah, no. We've already thrown 5 million in this. Getting it through the door might take another 3 million. Let's just cut our losses and dissolve Retro Studios.
Is there any kind of development footage or trailers or anything of the next Prime at all?
No.
See, that's the problem. They need to like if they want to. I personally think that because Prime, like the actual next Prime game, that would have, a hope and a chance. But the thing is that they have to show us something. Because we can't get hyped about a development that we're not allowed to see. Like
we got a logo, followed by about a years of silence, followed by news that the development has been scratched and restarted.
Right.
And the last thing we've heard from them is that they assured us that it's still ongoing.
Yeah, see, the thing is like, people can see what Dread is, and it does not look good. I just, there's nothing about what I've seen, and I get the impression that there's a pretty good amount of people that feel the same way. But if you could see some actual, like, development of the next Prime, people would be like, yeah, man! Like, yes! Because it's... The Prime games are pretty decent, they've been pretty decent. So, I mean, I don't know.
The Prime games are first-person shooters, so people like their first-person shooters.
Right.
A lot of people don't like retraversing platformers.
Right.
So, Metroid has always been kind of a niche fandom.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why, Metroid fans are always wanting the next Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
Because they think this will be the time where a Metroid game comes out and people care.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Sonic.
I mean, the Sonic fan base is ginormous, bro.
Yeah, but
and they're also very, very scary.
Incredibly scary. So, after seeing this new Switch is not the Switch Pro that we all thought it was,
right?
I have another prediction.
Okay. We
probably will not see anything about the next generation Switch because next year is year 5 for the Switch. I think I might have been wrong earlier when I said like next year is year 6 or year 7. Next year is year 5 on the Switch.
Okay.
Next year is the final year. However, the reason why this OLED Switch wasn't the Switch Pro is because we are currently going through a global silicon shortage. Chip manufacturers everywhere are having a hard time producing chips.
Okay, that's interesting.
Some of the more famous issues is Nvidia has not been able to meet demand for graphics cards.
Interesting. That I had no idea about, but that seems like a pretty big freaking deal. Because that doesn't just affect Nintendo, that affects, like you said, like you just mentioned Nvidia, that probably affects many, like, multi-billion-dollar, like, electronic companies. And that's a pretty big deal.
AMD has felt it's been a hard. We've not been able to get a hold of current gen Ryzen processors. Intel has had a hard time getting their processors out the door for the past couple of years. This silicon shortage has only added to their problems.
Right.
And Nvidia hasn't been able to meet the demand for their 3000 line of GeForce graphics cards.
Interesting.
So the GeForce graphics cards make more money than the custom SoCs.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a choice between making custom SoC or an RTX 3070, they're going to make an RTX 3070.
Because it's less demanding in resources for the use of silicon.
No. They make more money by selling a 3070.
Oh.
That chip, that silicon wafer.
Yeah.
If it goes towards making a Tegra SoC, they can only put that in two places: a Nintendo Switch and the Nvidia Shield.
Okay.
Making a 3070, they could sell that to 75 different board partners. They could plop it into a laptop. They could do whatever they want.
Oh, more distribution. They can sell it to more people.
They can sell it to more people, and the 3070 die makes them just way more money than the Tegra X2.
Interesting. Okay.
So they're going to choose to make they're going to choose to put all their resources into making 3070s and 3080s and 3080 Ti's
because they have a larger market for it. I get it.
So Nintendo went to them and said, "Hey, I know you're having a hard time, but we would really like to launch a hardware refresh on our Switch, and we'd like to use one of your new SoCs. That's an improvement over the old one. Give us a new improvement." And Nvidia was like, "Bro, we just can't."
Yeah, they can't afford it.
Oh no, they just don't have the resources.
Yeah,
because all the resources they have is trying to catch up 3070 orders at this point. So Nintendo, knowing that they can't release a Switch Pro with the new chip, said, "Well, we'll release this other refresh because we have to have some kind of we have to have something." Pokemon's good and everything, but you need as many feet in the table, especially given the fact that they had absolute nothing last year.
Right.
So our hardware, so the Switch's hardware refresh is this OLED upgrade, and it'll be okay. Maybe some people who were on the board who were kind of sitting on the fence about buying a Switch. We're like, hey, OLED is what's going to get me there. Like OLED, Metroid, and Pokemon. Let's go. That gets me.
Metroid. Oh man, Dread. Come on, man.
Giving them the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't think we see. So that's it for Nintendo hardware. 2022 is interesting. We're supposed to be on the back end of this silicon shortage. The companies that make these chips and make silicon wafers, they're firing up new processing plants and everything, and they're supposed to be able to increase their output.
Now, I'm curious. Was this shortage created because of like COVID and like preventing people from entering factories? Okay, got it. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of these chip manufacturers are in China.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I get you.
So they were shut down for months.
Reasonably so.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that Nvidia might be willing to commit to processing SoCs for the next Nintendo Switch for a holiday 2022 release.
Mm-hmm.
March 3rd is the Nintendo's 6-year anniversary.
Right.
The Switch's 6-year anniversary.
You think that's going to be the one?
I think we will get the second generation Switch on March 3rd, 2023.
Okay. He said it. He gave you a date. March 3rd, 2023. That's the date that Lettuce is putting down on the table right here, right now.
And as a bonus prediction, because everybody loves a bonus, Kenji Imura, the director for the Legend of Zelda series, is going to end up on a direct sometime around E3 in 2022.
Okay.
And he's going to ask us to please be patient for Breath of the Wild 2 news.
Well, yeah.
And he's going to give and he's going to say it's released. It's going to be released. They're going to push the release back to 2023.
Interesting. Well, that might give him a little extra time to polish then, if that's what they're trying to do.
No, Breath of the Wild 2 is a second-gen Switch release title.
Ah, okay. So it's probably finished, but they want the late release so they can sell consoles with it, is what you're saying.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah.
Okay.
Like, they'll keep polishing it, and because the hardware for the Switch 2 is not being finalized right now.
Sure. It's too early.
They'll be... It's too early.
Yeah.
But they could be working on what they think it might be.
Okay.
And start working towards that. Once they finalize that, then they'll be able to go in the polish stage. So they will, in theory, yes, be working on it, but that's only because they made the actual decision to jump the scale of the game tenfold and declare it's going to be a title that sells hardware. Which, you know, if I was Nintendo, it's what I would do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can promise you that Breath of the Wild 2 would definitely sell, you know, consoles. Like if they time that out correctly. Because, I mean, you know, putting your eggs in a basket for Dread, I'm sorry, there's no way.
Well, I mean,
there's no way.
To give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt, they kind of had no choice this year.
I mean, I get it. It's been
they got hit. They got hit with the same issues that everybody else did.
Sure.
With the COVID pandemic.
Obviously.
Apparently, Japan is not a country that was really set up for work from home.
Right. They're very traditional with their businesses.
They're very traditional with their businesses and everything. So working from home was a huge adjustment for all these Japanese companies, not just Nintendo. Okay. So a lot of stuff kind of got stuck in the pipe.
Right. I get that.
So they're trying to make do with what they. So to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt, they're trying to make do with what they got.
Sure.
While trying to keep their investors happy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, prediction 1: Metroid Dread is being given its best chance ever to succeed.
Okay, you got it.
It's a part of the Nintendo holiday strategy this year.
Sure.
It's got a month to itself, and it's released alongside a hardware upgrade.
Right.
If this game doesn't sell 3 million copies, which is, you know,
that's pretty reasonable. 3 million. That's not a big number for like a game that they're putting a lot of eggs in the basket for.
Yes, but it's also it's also like double what any other Metroid game would sell.
Ouch. I mean, I don't know numbers for Metroid games or anything like that, but if that's true, that's oof.
All right, the last Switch game on Metroid was the remake of Metroid 2.
Okay.
I believe.
Well, that's like a really old one, though, isn't it? It's like they basically ported it, right?
Yeah, it was a reimagining.
Interesting. Like updated graphics and stuff?
Oh yeah. Basically, they reused the that image, the engine from the remake, to do Metroid Dread. It's why they could get it. It's why they could get it out so quickly.
Yeah, that would make sense because they're doing this whole platformer shtick with the Metroid Dread, which is, I don't think it was. You know my opinions about Dread. I don't need to go over it again.
Okay, so Metroid: Samus Returns, which was a 3DS game. It wasn't even a Switch game; it was a 3DS game.
Sure.
Which was a remake. Don't have sales. Let me see here. I don't have sales numbers for that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's see here.
I'm keeping in mind 3 million
sales. Okay, so I said sells 3 million.
Has to, basically, is what you said. Has to. Yeah. So you're going to want to probably look at, like, release and then time lapse after release, I assume?
First Prime sold 2 million copies total.
Oh my god! That's so low!
Yeah, and that's on the Wii.
Oh no! Oh no!
Metro Prime. Yeah, that was after the Wii remake too.
Oh no!
No. We actually got the Wii remake total separate. Metroid Prime Trilogy.
See, and I thought 3 million was going to be totally achievable, but now after hearing like 2 million upon release, oh god. That's so not, like, that's not good.
Yeah, Prime Trilogy, yeah, it's like three titles.
Like they sold it as like a bundle or whatever.
Yeah.
Got it.
On the Wii, which was a system that sold a lot.
Yeah.
Sold 7.15 million units.
Hey, that's reasonable, but that's a bundle. So people are like, hey, it doesn't, like, I don't like this game, but it has these other two that I like.
Oh, no.
What?
No, that's not Prime Trilogy itself. That's Prime 1, 2, 3, and the trilogy.
1, 2, 3,
so that's,
and the trilogy?
Yeah, that is the total sales for the Metroid Prime units, like the Metroid Prime franchise.
So, like, in other words, each individual game plus the trilogy bundle.
Yeah.
That's so bad!
That was 3 games plus plus a re-release that had 3 games, and one of those was on a console that had a lot of, homes.
Oh my god, that's horrendous. That's horrendous. Okay. Oh no. I didn't realize Metroid was this unpopular. I mean, I felt
it's a like Metroid fans don't realize just how niche they really are.
Wow.
Okay, so 3 million copies is about what Kirby Star Allies and Mario Tennis Aces sold.
Wow. You mean a Mario Tennis game?
Mario Tennis
did better than most of the biggest Metroid games. Oh no.
Mario Tennis sold 3 million on the Switch.
Oh no.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe, the reason why we're not going to see Pikmin 4, only sold 2 million. So if they tamper expectations and maybe say 2.5 million.
Sure.
That puts it in the sells better than Minecraft on the Switch realm. Sells about what Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, a remake. Was that the Oh yeah, no, Tropical Freeze.
Is a remake. I'm starting to feel bad for Metroid now. I'm like officially starting to feel bad for it.
As you should, because the expectation is 2 million on a console.
That's so low. 2 million is so low.
2 million is like the 30th best-selling game on the Switch.
Yeah. Oh, poor Metroid.
Like Octopath Traveler, as niche as that JRPG was and as weird as the name was, still managed to sell 1.5 million units.
Yeah, but that game's beautiful. I mean, it's very niche, but and I'd say that considering how niche Octopath Traveler is, that's pretty decent. 1.5 million. It's pretty.
But I'm
decent.
saying, but I mean, there you go. That is like niche game.
Not even like a main name title.
Yeah, Square Enix did absolutely nothing to advertise this game.
That's true.
And it is still sold 1.5 million copies. So yeah, if Metroid Dread can't whip up 2.5 million because it's going to have a month by itself and it's going to be sold alongside this console, that's going to kind of help advertise the game. I don't see where Nintendo doesn't pull the plug on Prime 4.
Yeah. It's like Metroid, in my opinion, how I look at it, Metroid Dread is that, gigantic Titanic-sized boat sitting in the shipyard and it doesn't have a hull and it's just like it's still in the woodwork. And then Nintendo's the guy who's like looking at the blueprint and then looking at like, the boat skeleton with no hull and looking at her and be like, yeah, she'll float. Get her out there in the water.
Okay.
Oh no. Yeah, she'll float. Oh man, poor Dread. I'm sorry, guys. Dread looks so bad. I don't know if you guys have seen the gameplay for Dread. It looks so bad, and there's so many people trying so hard to talk it up, like as if it's going to be this amazing thing. And I'm sorry.
Okay, so Metroid Dread is literally we slapped this together using the engine and assets we had from Samus Returns.
Yeah, it does not look good. I don't. It does not look good. It really does not look good.
Yeah.
It was the most disappointing thing I saw at the Nintendo E3.
Yeah, that is the third pillar of Nintendo's holiday strategy this year.
Oh god. Yeah.
Nintendo doing Nintendo things.
Yeah, apparently so. Jesus. Man.
So, you want to hear some more depressing news?
Are we moving on to the next thing that you were genuinely really excited to talk to me about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, ready to make all your listeners angry?
Okay, so here's the thing. You've got to be able to do this in like you know what? I'll give you like 30 minutes at the most.
Oh, we can do this. Deal.
All right, hit me with it. Hit me with that hot lettuce goodness.
So
I know where this is going.
Going from Nintendo doing Nintendo things to WotC doing WotC things.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Their MMO turned mobile Diablo clone gacha game is being canceled after 4 months in beta.
Oh man.
More good news for the Magic the Gathering brand.
Yeah. That's going to look great to their shareholders, won't it? That's like the first thing I thought of. Like their shareholders. I mean, yeah, we're as an audience, the Magic consumers, like, yeah, we're probably pretty upset. The shareholders have got to be livid. They've got to be absolutely livid about this.
It makes the Magic brand look a little worse, but this wasn't necessarily a WotC mess up.
Oh, so was it like based on something else?
Okay, so WotC, being that they don't know how to run their own company.
No. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They're like a multi-million-dollar company that keeps Hasbro alive. What do you mean they don't know how to run their company? They just do it in the shadiest way possible, that's all.
It's sad that the mismanagement at Wizards of the Coast is keeping Hasbro alive. I want to call cap on that, but I know you're right.
Yeah. They clearly know how to run a business, Lettuce. That's because if they didn't know how to run a business, they wouldn't be as successful as they are right now. So you can't tell me that they don't know how to run their own business. I'm gonna, like, see, you gotta understand, I'm clenching my fists and grinding my teeth while I'm saying that. But it's true!
Are you sure they're successful? Or are they leveraging a position in a market where they are literally the only game in town?
Well, I mean, first of all, you gotta understand that
it's hard to lose when no one's playing with you.
Well, the thing is, too, is that they're, like, and this is what really keeps their business model alive, is they're feeding an addiction. They're feeding an audience with a really serious, gambling and addiction problem. Like, we talked about this before, about, like, why it's... You remember when I was saying how in that one episode where I get really angry, oh, this is a $40 card, and you're like, well, they're feeding an audience that is, a bunch of gamblers. And, like, upon thinking about that, it's kind of, you just realize that that's why they're so successful. They're feeding an audience that's addicted to gambling. So that's why their business model is constantly successful.
They're feeding. Okay, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back you up right here.
Mm-hmm. Am I a bit wrong? That's okay.
You're not seeing the full picture. If they were simply just feeding a customer base that is addicted to gambling, that fan base would have moved onto something that gives you better odds. The people who are addicted to gambling love winning.
I mean,
Wizards.
I'll be honest, I don't 100% agree with that, but I see your point.
The people who are addicted to gambling will move to something that if they know their odds, will move to something that gives them better odds. One of Wizards' scummy practices is kind of skirting the player's odds. People realize this and still come back. So there's something a bit more than just feeding a gambling addiction. There are people who generally are into what Magic the Gathering is, the collectible card game.
Sure.
There is, and the thing is Magic the Gathering is still, for the most part, the only game in town.
Yeah, especially after Force of Will has basically given up the ghost at this point, which is too bad because they were working their way up towards being a hardcore competitor for Magic, and then they were just like, no, we're just going to shit the bed. Screw it.
There's other games, like Pokemon's still around. The problem is
that's true. That's true.
The Pokemon card game has diversified themselves to an online client.
Right.
So the Pokemon card game really does have some really weird geographic bubbles. There's some places that play Pokemon, and then you drive 5 miles and no one plays Pokemon.
Yeah, and plus it's got a larger market than Magic does, anyways. So,
right, but that doesn't matter if no one's playing.
That's true.
Magic is, if you go where collectible card games are played, you can always find a game of Magic.
It's true. Yep.
You might be able to. Next up, you might be able to find a game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, huh?
Yeah, but like at a clip of like 30, like a third of what Magic is. And then below Yu-Gi-Oh, you have Magic. You have some cells.
You have Magic at the top. You have Yu-Gi-Oh for second, and then you have Magic at third. I mean, that's true.
You have Magic at third. Then at fourth, you have Pokemon.
And then at fifth, you have Magic.
No. Magic's only on there twice, buddy. You have the competitive Magic players, and you have the Commander players.
Oh, you're doing it in like tiers of what kind of Magic is being played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have the competitive Magic players, and then you have the EDH players.
Okay. I just thought that was funny that this Magic showed up twice.
Somewhere in between. No, I mean, I made a mistake, but screw it. I'm gonna own that one.
I'm cool with it because it makes sense.
I'll make myself technically correct.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does. Like it was a joke, but it's true.
and then below the EDH players, you have like the burgeoning card games, the
Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood, Final Fantasy.
Sure.
All those other things.
Right.
So, literally, Magic has a virtual monopoly on the trading card game market. Mm-hmm. And they've enjoyed that position for about the past 15 years.
Yep, that's reasonable.
So, they're behaving like a company that doesn't have to compete.
Yeah, which is dangerous.
So, in order to grow their brand, they just start throwing their license. They've been trying so hard to throw their brand, throw their license around. Mm-hmm. There was the Puzzle Quest clone, which was an okay mobile game.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was an okay mobile game. The monetization is still, your typical mobile game monetization.
Right.
They're trying to get a Netflix series off the ground, and it keeps failing to get off the ground. But
I keep forgetting that that's a thing. Like, it's like I feel like every couple of years I hear about it again, and I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah. They're trying to do that. Every once in a while, they try to go into books, and then something happens, and they're like, well, our writers suck. Yeah. And then they close down. For a while.
Yeah, but that's their fault. That's not the writer's fault. That's their fault.
I mean, yes, but this is WotC not trying to expand their brand, but not knowing what it means to expand their brand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the latest kind of pie in the face thing that they did was they tried to make a Magic MMO. It's called Magic Legends. Mm-hmm. The original concept of Magic Legends was actually really great. I was on board when the original announcement was made.
Okay.
Because they had given it to Cryptic Studios.
I don't know who those guys are.
Okay, so here are some games that they've made in the past. They made Champions Online, which is a free-to-play MMO based on the Champions tabletop game.
Okay.
This was kind of a spin-off of their work from City of Heroes.
Okay, you did tell me about that, and that was one that you said you were a decent fan of, if I remember correctly?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, Cryptic Studios was the original developers for City of Heroes.
Right. Okay.
And City of Heroes had a really great combat system and a really great gameplay loop. Another game that they're famous for is Star Trek Online.
Oh yeah, I hear about that one all the time, actually. Surprisingly. I mean, I don't play it, but I know that it exists, and I know it's got a big fan base.
Yeah, it's an MMO that hasn't died yet, all things considering.
Well, I hear that it's got some pretty good gameplay to it overall, as well as ship customization and things like that.
And they also make the free-to-play Neverwinter game.
Don't know that one.
So, Neverwinter is a PC, Xbox, PlayStation, free-to-play dungeon crawling action MMO, kind of like Diablo.
Okay.
The development for Magic Legends comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes from MMO to
Diablo clone.
The worst possible Diablo clone.
Got it. I haven't
seen
any gameplay or anything, so I have no idea what that's supposed to look like. I mean, I just imagine Diablo. That's what I'm imagining when you talk about this.
Okay. Do you remember the internet outrage over a game called Diablo Immortal?
Bro, you guys have phones, right?
Okay, so you remember.
Who doesn't? I mean, come on, man.
Okay. So imagine a Diablo game, except for it's for mobile.
Okay.
And it's got all the worst possible gacha monetization that you can think of.
Got it. So so you're saying that this game was supposed to be immortal, basically.
Yeah, this was basically They thought they were going to make Neverwinter,
right,
with the Magic license, and we basically got Diablo Immortal with the Magic license.
Did I gotta ask, and I'm sorry for interrupting your train of thought here, but did Diablo Immortal do anything? Did that have any range of success whatsoever at all?
I don't care. It's a mobile game.
Okay, good point. Moving on.
Like, the memes happened. The memes happened. It released earlier this year, and I could give less than 2 squirts of frosted jizz about it.
Do you mean that Immortal only just released this year? Is that a real thing?
Yeah. It
what are you doing? What are you doing, Diablo? Oh my god. That was what was it, like 2 or 3 years ago that happened?
Yeah, but it takes a while to release a reskin Korean Diablo clone.
No. God, this is like I might have to go and take a nap after this episode because man, you're like with everything that we've talked about in this episode, I'm feeling a little depressed, buddy. I'm feeling a little depressed.
Get you another cup of coffee, you'll be fine. And the only thing I can say at this point is Wizards is really just trying to kill the Magic the Gathering brand. I don't know if they're trying to fire sale it. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think they're powerful enough to kill their own brand. I think their brand at this point is bigger than they are.
No, they can kill it. I mean, look at what the game has been doing. They're like
this brand Magic the Gathering has like a shelf, like even if Magic the Gathering, like if they were to give up all support and just be like, yeah, we're done, like the brand has like a shelf life of like at least another decade even after it's dead. Like I literally don't think they could single-handedly just kill it and it would be done in like a year. Like, and that's being like, you know.
Well, no, because what happens is they kill it, they fire sell it, and who they fire sell it to is like, hey, this is a living card game now. We're going to sell $200 boxes with Black Lotuses in it.
It'd be interesting.
I mean, that's what happens when Magic dies.
Yeah. I know we've all speculated and talked about this a few times, the idea of like you would know it's dead when they start, you know, reprinting, you know, Power 9 and all that stuff. And
yeah, the last rattle, the last death rattle of Magic the Gathering is Magic the Gathering becoming a living card game. They're going to say, screw your reserve list. We're going to
make as much money as possible.
We're gonna just squeeze the last bit of blood out of this cow.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what they're doing, and
at that point a lawsuit wouldn't even matter.
Yeah. Well, the lawsuit wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It would be a different company doing it.
Yeah. So no what is it? Is it promissory?
Yeah, there's no promissory there's no promissory estoppel there.
That's it. Yeah.
Because this company was like, we didn't promise you anything.
Yeah, that's WotC. They don't exist anymore, right?
Yeah. We're Disney.
Oh God. You know that Disney wouldn't fire sale Magic? Come on, man. You know that they would make that thing live forever. They would they would freeze that bitch next to Walt's corpse.
Okay, so the reason why you buy, so if you're Disney and for some strange reason you have a game publishing company,
the
reason why you buy Magic the Gathering is you want the Magic the Gathering system.
Right.
Because people know the Magic the Gathering system, and it's not flawless.
So you think they would dissect it to build another game?
You would get Magic cards with Disney characters.
Well, clearly that's the most obvious choice, but
you get a Planeswalker for Goofy. Gorsh.
You know, I'd buy that.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
I'd buy that for $1.
Right. So that's why you do it, and then you just sell you just rebrand it. You put the system together, the deck build. You get the deck builder system, which is the name of the game that Magic the Gathering is built on.
Sure.
You take the deck builder system, and you throw another license. You throw Marvel
Yeah.
You throw Marvel on it, and you remake Marvel Versus on in the deck builder system.
That'd be interesting. I mean, it probably wouldn't necessarily be the nicest thing to see of all time happening to Magic, but then again, when have they been nice to anybody recently anyways? So whatever.
This is just where we're going.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that Magic the Gathering is that the leadership in Wizards of the Coast is in an acceleratorism mode.
Do you think they're trying to build themselves like golden parachutes so that they can bail when they need to?
No, they're trying to make as much money as they can now for their stockholders, which is what they're supposed to do.
Got it.
But in doing so, they're burning consumer confidence like it was nothing.
See, the thing is I was saying that they were burning consumer confidence about like 5 years ago. And let me tell you, that flame, it's like on one of those, eternally burning oil lamps. I legitimately, because the thing is
throwing propane on it now.
It's what?
They're throwing propane on it. They're like, let's just go. Let's do this.
The thing is, and this is what makes me sad about this, is that I think that the player base, is so much, that's why I said that, the IP is stronger than the company. The brand is stronger than the company. I legitimately believe that. Because otherwise, I would have said that based on this pace, WotC should have been out of business 5 years ago, and clearly that's not true. I mean, and it's depressing, but the fact is that, they're still going. They're stronger than they ever were before. If you look at,
No.
Yeah, they are! They're making money hand over fist, dude. And they don't give a shit.
They're making money hand over fist on a shrinking consumer base.
Yeah, but as long as they're constantly bringing in more money, they don't care what the size of their consumer base is as long as the money's rolling in. Right. That's the fact.
At some point, there's not going to be enough people to buy at $25, and then they're going to start losing money.
Yeah, but who cares when you have whales and investors? There's fewer of them, but they buy more, and they spend more. I'm heavy-hearted saying this right now. It breaks my heart to say this stuff right now, but the fact is that I know what I've seen.
Right. Okay, so the whales will be the last ones on the ship. The investors don't really buy, and if the game is going to start collapsing, the investors are going to be the first person to notice. The investors will be the first people to notice because those chase rares that are worth $40, at release, at pre-release and release, start becoming worth $20, start becoming worth $10. The investors will be the second to last people to leave the sinking ship.
Right.
They will run out of the greater fools, the players, because the players are the ones who buy their $40 cards when they, after they've jumped to 50, knowing that those cards that were just released are going to depreciate in value within 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is that I legitimately see that, even if, the company were to sell off or whatever, or they were like, okay, Magic's dead, it's over, get out, I would still see the brand and the game living on, obviously, the game itself is immortal, but I legitimately see it's got another decade. And then that doesn't even change the fact that as long as the company's alive, it's probably got another 20, 30 years. That's just how it functions because...
Oh, heat death. I'm not saying that heat death in Magic's imminent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. To be perfectly honest, is because they're still doing a good job of recruiting new greater fools for the investors in Wales.
Yeah.
They lose players. They overall are losing players.
Okay.
Anybody who's been paying attention to Arena could tell you that. Arena has shrunk.
Yeah.
Local card shops, they are closing at a clip that far exceeds what you would think, the pace that they were pre-pandemic.
Right.
and even during the pandemic. We came out the other side of the pandemic, and people are not really coming back to the stores because they learned they don't have to.
Right.
Because Wizards decided that they're going to start selling singles directly to customers.
Sure. Logical step there.
Yeah. So your casual players, your commander players, which really should be tier 1 of the Magic people at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll revise that statement. It's casual Magic than competitive Magic. The casual players, the people who are really in line to buy these secret lair drops, because that's what the secret lair drops is.
It's a singles market. I get that.
It's selling EDH bling to EDH players.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, we are heading towards a heat death. I don't think Commander alone will be enough to sustain Magic. Arena is losing players, not at an alarming clip, but at enough to where they really need to do something, and they're doing things. I hear that they're rotating standard early in Arena.
Okay.
They're probably going to reconsider a twice a year rotation schedule instead of the once a year rotation schedule. They're probably going to put that back on the table, in order to help out Arena. Because with the local card game store, with the local game stores dying off, Arena is where competitive Magic will be, except for they just killed their Pro Tour. So I don't know what people are doing on Arena either.
Which is also a hilarious move, but also whatever.
No. That wasn't a hilarious move. I actually like that move.
You think it was like the right choice for them to make that?
Yeah, they were getting no return on investment for that.
Reasonable.
So the Pro Tour used to be called the Promotional Tour. Because you would see these players playing these games, and you would go out and you'd buy their decks, you'd buy their cards.
Yep.
You would strive to be in the Pro Tour with them.
Sure.
So Wizards thought, hey, let's make some e-celebs. Let's put them on the bankroll. They found out that these people that they were bankrolling weren't giving them a return on investment.
Yeah. But they at that point they were just picking random people. You know, it wasn't about how well they played. It was about how they looked or what their opinions were or whatever.
But still, the dream is to be on the gravy train. The dream is to get a contract, is to be paid to play Magic by Wizards.
Yeah.
The thing is like when they messed up and they highlighted some problematic people. Because they do that from time to time.
Because we live in a perfect world where we play a perfect game of Magic, right?
Right. The people that they were paying were doing the bare minimum to meet their contract. And I don't blame those players because they never knew what exactly was expected of them.
Yeah.
It's why Jerry T quit. Jerry T was like, look, I don't like that you think you have control over me, and I don't know what's expected of me. So, toodles.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised more players didn't follow Jerry T out the door. But,
well, that's because they still had, these hopes and dreams of playing for Wizards and making that moolah and being famous for being a Magic player,
No, these were people who were making money in the game already.
Yeah. But I mean, that's exactly my point, though.
Brad Nelson has a fairly good job with Star City Games. He lives a comfortable life making content for Star City Games and, doing whatever Star City Games needs him to do.
Yeah.
It's not, he's not rich by any standards, but, that's one of the things from living in Central Virginia, I suppose.
I guess.
But a lot of those SCG pros who decided to migrate to Roanoke to work for SCG, and a lot of those people were on the Pro Tour. I think Brad was one of them, and there might have been one or two other people who were. But the story for the Channel Fireball guys, who were in the Pro League, they were making money in the game before Wizards came in and said, "Hey, we'll pay you to play Magic for us."
Right. Yeah.
The thing is the advertisement return just wasn't there for it. So, yeah, it got cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in-store programs are being cut, and I think it's probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
I mean, there's no doubt that it's just altogether a big mess, and it's not something that's ever going to be fixed. Like, this is Magic, guys. Well, we welcome you to it. Like, come on in. The door's open for you.
If you love the game, if you still play in your kitchen table and everything, you love the game.
Who cares, right?
Yeah, I mean this doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
But the problem is
there's not going to be a game left for you, if it keeps going this direction. But at the same time,
the game will get stale for you at some point as nothing new is released for you.
The good news is for all you kitchen Magic players, it's got a shelf life. It's got a really long shelf life. So you won't really know it's gone until it actually is gone. So that's good.
I mean, the cardboard stock can't have that great of a shelf life. I mean, it comes out pringly and from straight from the pack. Like you crack.
Pringles have a shelf life.
Yeah, but after a couple of weeks, you're not going to eat that Pringle.
You want some stale, plasticky, chewy chip? What are you doing with your life?
And I'm not even talking about the foils.
Yeah.
Non-foils are coming out bent.
Oh yeah, man. One of my favorites was I have a huge collection of Ixalan, and a lot of those pringled. Some of them are still pringly. And it's weird because those Ixalan cards, some of them pringle and some of them don't. You just never know what the hell is going to happen to them. It's pretty weird, actually.
Oh, and that is if you don't get the card that was printed with a printer error.
Yeah. I think that one of the best statements I've ever heard talking about the death of Magic should be said, which is and this is one of the most true things I think I've ever heard talking about Magic dying, which is when Magic finally dies and it's gone, nobody's going to know, because at that point, nobody's going to care anymore. Nobody's going to be playing it. Nobody's going to be buying it. The only people that are going to be left to know that Magic is dead are the most hardcore fans of Magic the Gathering, and that's it. And by that time, it's going to be a teeny tiny minority. So
yeah, actually, that somebody will know.
Yeah, but the thing is,
the investor class
will be screaming and moaning about it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And they're screaming and moaning now. Wizards of the Coast stop hosting
Apparently
legacy
not loud
events.
enough.
Whatever. Most of them have gotten out.
Yeah.
Wizards of the Coast stopped holding legacy events.
Mm-hmm.
And the price on, and we saw prices on a lot of legacy staples lose 25% value.
Yeah.
And this is the dual lands went back to under $1,000.
That's legitimately surprising.
Well, if no one's playing legacy, then who needs to buy dual lands?
Antique collectors.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of them who are interested in Magic the Gathering cards.
Well, okay. Yeah, you're right, sir.
Yeah, you got to find at that point, you've got to find the greater fool. Yeah, so I remember a revised Tundra being about $800. It's back down to $600.
Wow. That's actually surprising. I didn't know that. I just assumed they would just go up forever. Legitimately. Not gonna lie about that. I legitimately felt like that was a possibility.
No. It's even though it's primarily scarcity,
mm-hmm.
that drives their price.
Mm-hmm.
There still has to be a demand, and other investors and antique holders
mm-hmm.
are not going to pay $400 for a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you talking about? It's got all the, the printing dots that prove that it's genuine and can't be recreated perfectly, and the unique what is that stupid paper filling in the middle of every damn card. It's totally unique and special. Shut up, bro. What are you talking about? It can't be recreated. Lick me.
Except for I know where you can buy their card stock.
It's okay. I do too.
Yeah, like who doesn't know where you can buy their card stock at this point? It's called Charmin.
Okay. Well, you know what, buddy? I've had a really good time, but we do have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll talk about it more next time, because I know that there's a lot more that we wanted to talk about with this particular subject.
Next time Wizards does a dumb, we'll be there to hate crime it.
Yeah, we'll have our Rotten Tomatoes in hand at the ready.
We'll be like those guys from the Muppets, the heckler guys.
Yeah, the guys at the podium up in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh god, so good. All right, buddy. Well, thank you so much. I had a really good time. Do you have any last second thoughts that you want to share with anybody?
No.
We've spoken our piece.
I don't have anybody who has a birthday this week, so
okay.
so don't got anybody to plug.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do my plugging because I'm a pluggy kind of boy. So
next week I've got some plugging we can do.
Ooh, that sounds fun and tantalizing. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to say all my plugs, which is, first of all, thank you guys all for coming in and listening to us schmooze about whatever the hell we felt like, which was apparently mostly Nintendo and then a little bit of magic at the end. So thank you for being here. Please think about liking, commenting, and subscribing. All that stuff is super helpful to both me and Lettuce, and it really helps the channel out a lot. So if you can do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. And also check in the description below for all of the wonderful links, such as the donation links, such as PayPal and Streamlabs. Those are greatly appreciated, and all donations go directly towards the channel and improving all the quality and the hardware and the software. So if you guys want to do that, it's heavily, heavily appreciated. And I'd also love to give a wonderful shout out to my wonderful Patreon members, which include my wonderful friend who is sitting right over here, Mr. Lettuce, as well as Bo Falcon, Fajouk Enterprise. Yeah. Bo Falcon, Fajouk Enterprises, James P., Miss Rebecca, as well as Scorpageist. Thank you guys so much for your regular support. Your donations are greatly appreciated, and you're an awesome, lovely, sexy bunch. So thank you so much for all that you do. And other than...
Fish really loves you.
We love you. Other than that, follow your dreams, guys. And we have been... the Imaginary Boys. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. Goodbye. No goodbye.
That was fun.
No goodbye. Well, yeah, we're still recording. Of course it was fun.
Yeah, you might want to cut this part off. I already said my goodbyes.
All right.
Starfish really loves you.
I'm still recording. Let me press the goddamn button.